Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Go Money. Before we go into the details, if you have not watched the introduction and money management videos, please do. It has the basic concept of wave theory and the indicators we use. The money management will give you an idea of how to manage the trade. The link is given in the description. In this video, we are going to look at weekly trade report. And since this is the first video in this series, I like to explain what we're going to do here. So we're going to look at what happened this week, how our account performed, how Nifty performed. So that's a benchmark for us, and we are going to go through each and every trade we are in. And basically, I'm going to explain, since it's the first video, and some of the trades I have not posted. So I'm going to explain how we took the trade from a weekly time frame to the daily and an hourly based on the trade setup. Yep. To start with, let's go on the weekly progress, see what happened. So this week definitely is not good. So Nifty pulled down close to 4%, and our account actually pulled down more than 2%. Pretty bad. But overall year-to-date progress, yeah, we had a really good run on the first 2 weeks, which we even reached 5% target, and then it dropped down to, actually we lost 50% of the profit in this week. So that's what happened in the market. So let's go look into each and every trade and see what is the next action on each. So let's take so before going to the chart, let me explain the color coding here, what we have in this watch list. So all the greens are the ones which we are in the trade, and all the blues or the light blue are the ones which may have a trade setup coming soon, and the pink ones are the ones which actually are in the correction, and the dark blue are the ones which we are actually in the impulse which is running now, and there is no trade setup yet. And the ones in the orange are actually in the downturn right now, and then we are waiting for it to turn around to get any setup to enter. So in this video we will be covering only the trade setup, which is the first 10 which we are holding today. So let's start with Sensex. So Sensex actually did actually is in the third wave of the bigger time frame impulse. So let me explain what that means. So this is actually a first impulse on around 1990 time frame, and then we had a bigger correction followed by the next impulse, and then a bigger correction in between, and then followed by the next impulse. So we are in the top of the third wave, and we never know when it's going to end and when the correction is going to start. But at this point, yes, we are still in the bull market. So let's move on to the daily to see how the setup is. The daily had a impulse followed by a correction, and now we are in the next impulse up, and the minimum trade expected, or the target expected, is somewhere around 66,000 rupees. So that is the expectation, and that's how the trade was taken, and the trade was taken on the breakout of this as it completed the pattern. And let's go on to the hourly to go into the details of the trade. Yep, as you can see, we have entered the trade after the completion of this wave and after the breakout. So we have this trade taken in this place, and now the first impulse has formed in the next wave or next impulse in a daily time frame. So, and then there is a correction, so which is nothing but X and the A. So what are we expecting now? We are expecting a forward move or a correction to come down to complete this wave to start another wave. So that's the expectation. So right now we are still holding the trade, no change at the moment, and we are just watching, and we are still not moving the stop loss. in general, depending on the trade how it goes, we move the stop loss, and we don't want to lose the profit if possible, if we have a proper setup to exit. At this point, no, we don't have a setup, so I'm just holding my grounds, not changing anything, not seeing any red sign that it is going to drop down. We never know, but let's wait and watch maybe another week to see what happens. At this point, status quo, we are in the trade. Okay, let's move on to Nifty, and let's go to weekly. So in weekly, it did the same thing, almost similar to Sensex. We had an impulse followed by a correction, and then another impulse followed by a bigger correction. We are in the, and then another impulse. So we are in the third wave. Let's move on to daily, and we can see the same impulse followed by correction, and then we are in the next impulse. So let's move on to hourly, and the same thing repeats here. So we entered the same trade when it consolidated here and broke out. So now we are again same, the impulse, and we are in the A wave. I don't know if A wave is complete, so we are still watching it. So we don't have any plans to change anything at this point, so because we are still, the pattern is forming, and we are not in any position to make a decision. So this remains the same. So moving on to Bank Nifty. So Bank Nifty, again we did the same thing. I think it's almost the same setup. So the slight difference in Bank Nifty, how it went, I guess. So yep. So here Bank Nifty had a wave, and then we have a consolidation here, then there is another wave followed by a bigger correction which happened. And so let me just add the Fibonacci for this. So we had a bigger correction which came to this retracement level, and then it started moving up. Again, this is in a correct. So what in a longer time frame, what you can see here is basically this an impulse. We have a correction followed by a consolidation, an impulse and a consolidation in a shorter time frame. So I'm expecting this to go up, then I'm expecting a fall, but it may be here, or it can actually do a shorter wave for further more up, and then it can be a longer time frame fall before it goes up. But at this point, when in a shorter time frame, we are not expecting that. We are expecting an up move. So let's go on to a daily and see where we are. So in daily, we had an impulse followed by a running flat. So we have a pattern which is complete, then it started its uptrend, and it broke the trend line where we entered the trade. So here at this point, we have an impulse. We had an impulse, and there is a correction happening right now, same as other two indexes. So let's see, still there is no action on this, so we are going to wait for this trade to see how it is. So let me just change the color coding to different time frames so that you can clearly see. I generally keep red for higher time frame like weekly, orange for a daily time frame, and then yellow for a 1 hour time frame. Okay, let's move on to ONGC. So ONGC is performing well basically. So but let me come from weekly. So in weekly, we had this is another pattern which I haven't explained before. So let me go through this. So in a weekly, you can see an impulsive move. Let me take this back. Sorry. So this had an impulsive move followed by a correction, and then it had a pattern for another level up followed by a bigger pattern down, and this is called an expanding flat, and which is nothing but an X for an impulse, which A comes here and the B breaks X, followed by C breaking A, so which is then expanding flat, and then this goes for the next retracement. Let's move on to daily. So daily we have just completed a wave, and then the next wave has started. That is basically had an impulse followed by correction, followed by two patterns in the middle, followed by and then a correction to complete this whole daily correction, and then the next wave have started, and this we are expecting it to reach 190 rupees. So in this trade, when we have taken in an hourly, so it has a breakout, and with this breakout we have taken this enter this trade, and at this point again same, we are not expecting any change, we are just monitoring it, and maybe there may be a consolidation possible before it goes, but there's just an expectation. Let's see how it goes. Based on the way how it progresses, we will manage it accordingly. At this point we are still holding the trade. Coming to Maruti, let's see on a weekly basis. So weekly basis we had very good impulse followed by correction, which is like A followed by X and A, and we are in a B wave. So there are two possibilities where it can continue, then have a running flat to continue, or there's a possibility that it can even come down, but since this pull down was actually came down to a major retracement level, I'm not really expecting a major pull down, but maybe you can have a short pull downs before it goes up, but we have to monitor closely what happens. But at this point, yes, it is in a uptrend. So when we go to daily, we had an impulse. So even in daily we had an impulse followed by correction, so which is X followed by A, and then we are in a B wave even for a daily, so which we had two patterns, which is the lower time frame followed by the next uptrend before it corrects. So even in daily there can be possibility of a downtrend, but we have to keep a close eye on it. So coming to an hourly, same thing, using this setup in the lower time frame what we saw daily, that's what we have taken. So once it had a breakout here, we took this trade, and this trade is actually expected to reach 9,450. that is our expectation, but we have to see closely, and here it can have further more correction possible before it goes. So maybe if we get a chance for entering, we might have another trade setup. If it comes, we might enter here for another trade where it will be an accumulation of stocks. When it comes, we will actually post a trade idea. Let's move on to Eicher Motors. So in weekly, so it has a very good impulse followed by a correction. So impulse and a correction. So now we are in the B wave again in the weekly, and we are expecting this for further up move before it drops, but we are expecting something like this in a longer time frame than here, but that is what we are expecting, and we'll see when it happens. So now coming to daily, we had an impulse followed by correction with two impulse down, which is A, B, C, and when it break out, we enter the trade, and so that is the trade we are in. And we were looking at hourly. Looks like there might be another trade setup forming if it comes up, Not sure yet, we are just monitoring, as this has actually broken this down, so it may not be a pattern here. This is kind of a little complex pattern. We have to see how this trade progresses based on to see if we want to really enter another one or monitor this trade and let it run. So we will based on whatever we get, we will decide what to do on the next trade. But at this point we are continuing this trade without changing the stop loss. We still maintain our grounds at this point. So let's move on to Titan. So Titan weekly, I think yeah, Titan, yes, we didn't put a video, so let's talk about Impulse. So Titan, we had a nice move again, but we had a bigger drop here, and then we had an impulsive move. So we are still an impulsive move up, and we might be in the last leg of the impulse before we might have a consolidation at this point. So based on hourly, we have the breakout, and that is after this trade consolidation. So we have entered this trade. So at this point we are pretty much completed the other next wave, and we are expecting, if the trade turns up, we are expecting another trade on this when it happens. But if it comes down, we might be watching it, and in this we might be moving this to the stop loss very close, and even not close, even we might move into a profit zone based on how this trade progress. We don't want to lose this money if it drops further, because it has already completed the pattern, and we are not expecting this to drop more than 2500 2450. So we will be keeping a close eye on this. So let's move on to Sun Pharma. In a weekly, it has actually done a impulsive move followed by A wave, and now we are in the B wave, which is also impulsive up. And in daily, it has completed an impulse and a corrective wave, and it is in the uptrend move for the next wave. So coming to hourly chart, we have this one. We have already moved our stop loss to break even, because we don't want to, if it drops, then we have to be careful, as it might even go down further. So we have moved to stop loss to the break even. So and we are waiting for it, but it has done a pattern, and now we are expecting this to go up and then form a consolidation for another entry. If that happens, we might even do another entry, but at this point we are still in the trade, not taking profit out, as the consolidation was very slow, or the down impulse was slow, and it didn't break the hourly trend line, and it is very close. So we are definitely monitoring this, and we don't want to lose the money if it drops. So that's the Sun Pharma. Moving on to Axis Bank. The Axis Bank, I think we have already posted the video for the weekly, so let's move on directly to hourly. So hourly, as we said already, this can have a consolidation, but we thought, okay, the consolidation can happen even at a higher time frame, so we don't want to really stay out of this trade, so we entered at this point. But as expected, the consolidation is happening, so maybe it might consolidate here, and then it can move. So we are still in the trade. This is negative for sure, but we are still monitoring it and watching, but we are still holding our stop loss here, because if it drops below this trend, we don't want to stay in. So but if we have a consolidation and if there's a breakout, we might do a accumulation on this trade as well. So moving on to Hero Motors, we has also posted, and I think that has been posted just yesterday. We just took the trade yesterday, we just entered, and hopefully you can see that video for a explanation of why we entered this trade. Yep, that's the trade setup what we have today, and hopefully let's continue this, and we'll see how this week progresses, and we will catch up more details in the coming week. And if we have more trade setups, we will post videos when and where it occurs. so you can see as well. And all our trades are not like an hourly or a daily trade, so you even after posting you can analyze and get good expert advice to see if you can also if you like the trade and participate in it. But this is just an educational video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in our next video.